okay?
Good. How are you, John?
How are you doing, sir?
How about you?
I'm okay.
Hey, Jake, how you doing? Okay, good, yeah. Mr. Jamie?
How are you doing, sir?
All right. Okay, good.
Much better now that I'm back in North Carolina. Chicago, Illinois is not my place.
You don't think you want to go up there?
I don't think so, but I'll pass. I'll pass. I'll tell you.
Okay, super. That is not for you.
Oh,
Take that and put it on
I
file.
would have to say I agree with you, and I've never been there.
I'm thinking about ethics.
it's just chaos all the time. It's just
Good grief.
busy, busy.
I bet so.
This is for that little boy that we're doing the Eagle Scout thing for, and I'm going to stick it in a little frame for him. If y'all don't mind, we'll sign that, and I'll take it back when everybody's got it.
There you are.
I think it's over at 5. I think it ends, well, maybe, I think it ends at 4 or 5.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thursday morning? Jamie, it's your turn to say the prayer.
Again?
Nuh-uh. It's, I know somewhere. Who did I say? Unless I didn't delete it. Oh, shoot, I did it wrong.
Is it Ronnie's turn?
I think I will. I don't remember. Who did it last time?
I think I done it last
I
time.
think it is yours, actually. Because,
Is it?
yeah, because I think I counted up. We got out of order at one point because when we missed, like, you were out and you were outside.
Yeah.
And we had all those meetings in between the, so that's right. Yes, you're right. Sorry. I
Okay.
wrote that and then I was like,
Okay. So it is glad
You're right.
Jamie. Okay.
this is for the young man that we're doing that Eagle Scout thing for. I'm going to put it in a little frame down here for him, but I was going to
Pray everything's all right.
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing?
Good, how you doing? Good to see you. Got an answer for you, but you're not gonna like it.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good, good to see you.
You
Been
get
out
along
soon.
well.
Where's Shannon?
She just was in here.
Pretty good over
It's so good about always coffee.
I don't know if this is the best meal you can have or
Give
something.
me a water night.
She said to me that she was leaving so she wouldn't have to get you any coffee.
That happens. Oh, look at her hand. Ronnie, look at her hand.
Yeah, I said.
She's a good lady, I'm telling you she
Yeah.
is.
You didn't want any tonight.
Like, he said you'd left, so you didn't have to give me any
Oh, is
coffee.
that what it was?
That's what Ronnie said. Thank you very much.
I'll take
I hear him make
that.
it.
3 cups of that, I may make it through this meeting.
I'm doing good.
You ready for your answer? Yeah, you were right.
Okay.
No, I was bloody, but
Well, that
My friend. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, Shannon.
turns out it's only transportation. The other
You gonna put your bracelet on?
parts of why Betty's operation
I
look pretty well.
a lot of things on my mind.
Well, as usual, financial transportation.
Good, bad, ugly, pretty.
And I got pretty much the same answer that you had gotten.
I did.
Yeah. And so what are you gonna do?
Try to call you and tell you, but I can't ever get up with you.
I'll have to wait
I've
for
been
more.
about impossible last few days. We've been at the hospital a whole lot.
That's what's created this. Catherine Payne, she said,
Yeah, you did. You told me that you're still in the hospital, but you didn't tell me
the
that.
way they
Or
have
here.
Unfortunately, my wife
Lost
and
a cash
My
flow.
father-in-law was not doing much better, so
I
I
don't
don't know.
like it, but I don't know much what to do about it other than.
My man's 93.
He will be 93 on this
People are
birthday.
not gonna keep working on their stuff.
Well,
I mean, especially when you got people strung out like they have.
she told me they were even cannibalizing parts, taking parts off one van to keep another van going.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it.
Right now.
Not good. I'll definitely try to be at today. You need to go to the Wyvetti meeting. You missed the last one.
Yeah. A little preoccupied here recently.
All right.
Good. Call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting on Monday, April 8, 2019, at 6 o'clock. And we'll start off as always our invocation. I believe it's Commissioner Yancey's turn.
Anyone that'd like to join, please stand. Dear God, we humbly come before you tonight to ask for your allegiance, guidance in the business of the county. We ask that you put your hedge of protection around each and every one of us. We ask that you lay your hand of healing on Mr. Nicholson's father-in-law, and we ask that you give us travel mercies on the way from the meeting. We ask all these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Please continue standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Go ahead and start with the approval of the agenda. I'll ask for a motion of approval.
I will go ahead and give you that motion to approve.
I have a motion to have a second.
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Next, we'll move on to the comments from our commissioners, and I'll let each one of them talk, then I'll come back to our county manager, Mr. Oakley here, and we'll start with Commissioner Mendenhall this time.
Thank you. It's good to see everybody. It's bad when you have to take your glasses off so you can see instead of not being able to see, but I'm getting to that age now. Thank you for being here, first of all. And as I was on my way over here, I got to thinking, you know, I hope we have a good turnout tonight. In the last few meetings, I think all of the commissioners have noticed that we have had a very good turnout. And it's been a variety of people. It's not been the same group every Monday night. It's been different people. And I think that is, to me, that is very good, because I got to thinking about what options you had tonight. You didn't have to be here. You might be on the agenda to where you needed to be here, but you know what? For the people that did not have to be here, you're here on your own. I thought about one word tonight. That word has 2 syllables: freedom. We have freedom here in the United States of America. And no one called your house, like I said, unless you were on our agenda. No one called and said, you have to be at the commissioners meeting tonight. Most of y'all chose to be here on your own. And you know what? We have a chance for public comments. Everybody has a chance to get up here and speak for 3 minutes if you want to. And that's part of that freedom too. There's a lot of countries in this world where you don't have freedom of speech, or you don't have the freedom to go certain places. So I say to you, I thank you for being here tonight, each and every one of you. It's been on my heart all afternoon about this, and thank you for coming out. And I encourage you to continue to come out, continue to give us input on the local government. We ask for it, and encourage your friends to come out if possible. And I say to all of you, welcome, and thank you for being here. And I'll pass it on.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Mendenhall. Commissioner Yance.
Yeah, I'd like to echo Commissioner Mendenhall's sentiments. Welcome everyone here tonight. Glad to see you guys. I also was coming up the road, and it was storming pretty bad down in Winston when I left work, and I thought, well, probably won't have many people at the meeting tonight. So thank you guys for braving the elements. As I say in every meeting, please reach out to us with anything that we can do for you. We're here to serve you. We were elected to serve you. So I look forward to hearing from any of you guys with concerns that you may have, and hopefully we'll have a productive meeting tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Walker?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Got a little secret to share with Commissioner Mendenhall and Commissioner Yance. I thought if we reduced the price of our tickets, our size of our audience would increase, and it looks like it's worked. Got more here than usual. Glad you're here. Hope you're not having to deal with seasonal allergies like some of us are. Makes for longer days. But anyhow, it's worth it to have spring just about here, or have things looking like spring like they are. Hopefully we'll have a fairly short meetings. There's a ball game, I think, later this evening that some people might be interested in. I'm one of them. And maybe we'll get through in time to see at least some of it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome everybody as well. Good to see you. I published a public outreach plan on my website last Sunday, so I would encourage you to go check that out at rickmorriscommissioner.com. It involves continuing my blog, which I'll be doing tonight after this meeting, about this meeting. Also, it's going to involve some public speaking, some possible town halls later this year. And so read the plan if you get a chance, and if you have any questions, let me know. Part of that plan will also be my establishment of office hours. I'm going to do that the first time tomorrow evening from 4 to 7. And plan on doing it every second Tuesday from 4 to 7 on the room 325 upstairs. So just come on over if you want to talk about something related to local government or whatever else. If anybody shows up, I may do it twice a month, so we'll see. I'll play that by ear, but I'm going to bring a book to read in case nobody shows up. So anyway, trying to just increase transparency and communicate well with the public on Commissioner Yance was saying what you want us to do and what you need us to do for you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. I also like to thank each and every one of y'all for being here. And for me and my family, I just want to say thank you to a lot of you who's reached out to us. We're going through a hard time right now. We got some bad news about my father-in-law, and just something I know we all will go through one day, but a lot of people has reached out to me from the community. Let me know they was in their thoughts and prayers, and we sure do appreciate that. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll go ahead and move on to County Manager, Mr. Oakley.
Mr. Chairman, I just got one thing I would like to talk about, and that was a Farmers Appreciation Dinner we had this past week. It was really nice, and it was good to see a lot of folks there, and I really enjoyed myself, and I wanted to thank the Cooperative Extension and all the people that's involved with that, and it was just a fun thing to attend. So I want to thank those guys for all the hard work that they put into that.
Thank you, Mr. Oakley. Okay, we'll move on to our public comments now. When I call you up, if you don't mind, just state your name, your address, and you'll have about 3 minutes to talk. And we'll start with Miss Ellen Perry.
Good evening. Ellen Perry, 1095 Wheeler Smith Road, Lawsonville. I'm here to give you an update on the arts. We had a really busy last 2 weeks. The Bailey Mountain Cloggers were here from Mars Hill. They did performances in the schools and a public performance at King Central Park. And the comments from the kids was just fantastic. They would go home and their parents would tell me they were trying to clog to show their parents what it was like. And, you know, clogging I don't think is very easy, but I think the kids really, really enjoyed that. And those students are just fantastic. We also had Saturday night Winston-Salem State University Chamber Orchestra, and it was a chamber orchestra not like any one thing I'd ever seen. They had a drum ensemble, and they did some unique things, so that was fun. At the Apple Gallery, we have our high school students' artwork this month, and their reception is this Friday, 5:30 to 7:30, so if you get a chance to stop by to see their artwork, that would be great. We're also going to announce our scholarship winners at that at that reception. Trivia night is this Thursday. It's the second Thursday of the month, And the food theme is Italian, so come hungry. Any excess money we have goes to our scholarship fund. We have a barn quilt painting class coming up this Saturday from 12:30 to 3:30. Our instructor is you're gonna be able to paint 4 one-by-one barn quilts to take home. So she's got all the patterns and supplies, and you just come choose your colors. Cindy Kiger is doing a book reading and signing at the Arts Place on Sunday. Cindy moved here and married a dairy farmer, and her book is called Crap Happens, Wallowing is Optional. And it's a book about part memoir, part comedy, and part devotional. And it's a short book. It's really a great read. So she's going to be here signing, reading from that book and signing autographed copies. Our Come Here North Carolina Music Celebration, the next artist is Lee Nash, and that's going to be April 26th, but I'll be able to give you more details about that at our next meeting. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Okay, moving on to our last one. Jonathan, is it Sutton? Sutton.
If I may, I'd like to give you a piece of paper.
Yes, sir.
There's 6 there. I'm Jonathan Sutton, Chief of the Westfield Volunteer Fire Department, 3386 Old Westfield Road, Pilot Mountain, North Carolina. Got some good news for you. Westfield has just lowered their ISO rating. We are now a Class 5 fire department. And I've got a little chart there on the top of that page that will tell you what a Class 6 fire department will do for each resident in our district. They did not have a chart for 5, but you can kind of go by this and get a reference. We will save the taxpayers in our district roughly $1.1 million over the next 5 years. Let's think about that. $1.1 million over the next 5 years. We're the only rural fire department in Stokes County that has done that. And I think that's great for our citizens. It's the biggest thing that's ever happened in Westfield for the whole community at one time. So with that being said, Westfield is in a building program right now. We are in desperate need of for some more base space for our apparatus and remodeling of our existing fire department. This has been a 5-year process. We have come to the Fire Commission for the past 3 years, and we're looking to get that funded by Stokes County. So far, that has not happened. We have 42% of our district in Stokes County. 58% of that is in Surry County. And if you'll go down there to the building payment, you'll be able to see exactly what Surry County is contributing to that. In our budget, 42% is normally filled by Stokes County. So we're trying to meet a loan payment of $47,000 per year. And we are asking Stokes County to give us $10,000 per year for that building payment. If you went by the math that is usually done, that would be $19,000, and we're only asking for $10,000 per year. So to wrap things up, whenever the fire budget is brought before you, I would like for you to reconsider our number and add $10,000 per year onto that. We've saved the taxpayers a whole lot more than what we're asking for. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your obedience to this county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll move on to our consent agenda. I'd ask for a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. 5 votes, Shannon. Move on into our information agenda with the Eagle Scout recognition. I'll turn that over to our county manager, Mr. Oakley.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is a recognition that one of our previous county commissioners that started here maybe 2 years ago. But anyway, it was to recognize the scouts for getting their Eagle badge. We have one that has done that this time, and previous commissioners decided to begin this recognition with Stokes County citizens who have achieved this. And the young man being recognized this afternoon is Michael Patrick Overstreet. They're not here. Mm-hmm. And Michael, he was started in the Scouts in 2012, and he's received this award for Most Improved Scout. He's also awarded the Most Improved Scout in 2014. Has accomplished 36 badges while in the Scout. He's replaced all of the benches at the amphitheater at Hanging Rock as a service to the community while he was earning his Eagle Scout. And Michael will be graduating from North Stokes High School and plans to enter the Forsyth Tech under a radiology program this fall. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would like for you to recognize this young man for achieving his Eagle Scout.
Absolutely. Very nice. And you said the young man's not here tonight?
I don't see him now.
Okay. Is this something we'll just get the award to him?
Yeah, his mother works here, so I'll give her his certificate tomorrow.
Okay.
I was thinking, yeah.
All right, good deal. I'd like to meet the young man, tell him job well done. I'm sure the other commissioners would too. But, all right, we'll go ahead and move on to next item, the Southtown Trail Association. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Oakley again.
This would be
Good evening. My name is Philip Barber. I live at 1630 Meridon Drive in Pinnacle. My wife Tammy and I have been longtime members of the Southtown Trail Association. The association's main purpose is to maintain, to promote, and hopefully preserve the Southtown Trail. The Southtown Trail is a 25-mile stretch of trail that connects Hanging Rock State Park to Pilot Mountain State Park. It's a hiking and horseback trail only. It is a designated segment of the Mountain to Sea Trail. The Mountain to Sea Trail goes all the way from Clingman's Dome at the North Carolina-Tennessee border all the way to Jockey's Ridge at the Outer Banks. It's a 1,140-mile stretch of trail. And out of that 1,140 miles, the Southtown Trail has one distinction that none of the rest of that trail has, and that's that we have landowners. There's no other part of the Mountain to Sea Trail that has landowners but the Southtown Trail. Our trail is only by the graciousness of our landowners that it crosses their property. It's their generosity that makes this trail possible. It's kind of like a double-edged sword for us because landowners move, they pass away, their land's inherited by their children or sold off, and that means we have to do reroutes, have to actually go out and make sure that we still have permission from the landowners to cross their property, and it gets to be quite a chore. Maintaining that trail without the help of our fellow friends like Friends to the Southtown Mountains and the Mountain to Sea volunteers would be impossible for us, as small an organization as we are. But on the other edge of that sword is we have landowners and we have to please those. So that makes us strive really hard to bring in events to the trail that give added value to that trail. It's not just a hiking trail or a horseback trail. It's a trail that adds value to people's lives. And I could tell you about all the scout troop hikes, the 4-H clubs, the church groups, and so on that's used this trail. But what I really want to bring attention to is an organization that we partnered up with about 3 years ago. It's called Eastern North Carolina Make-A-Wish Foundation. They had 2 hikes in 2016. They had 2 hikes in 2017. They had 3 hikes in 2018. They're averaging about 60 people per hike, and each person that participates in this hike has to raise a minimum of $2,500 to enter the hike. At the end of their last hike last year, they'd raised $750,000. They're already projected to raise $340,000 more for this year's 2 hikes, and possibly a 3rd hike this year. And I think as the governing body of our county, I thought you guys should realize that this activity on the trail is something that everybody in this community and this county should be really proud of. That anytime you can raise $1 million in 4 years to help children with life-threatening illnesses is got to bow your chest up, and we are really proud of that fact. I'll be sending an email to Ms. Shaver with the information of where I live and the dates of the trail of the hikes this year, and invite all of you to come out to our place where they have their lunch break, their medical check, and the families all kind of get together to support the hikers and stuff. So each of you to have opportunity to meet some of the recipients families, as well as the Make-A-Wish folks and the volunteers. And we would love to have you come out, and appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. I wish I'd been up to that area up there if you guys get a chance. Real nice. Move on to the discussion agenda now. Up first is going to be the Tax Administration Monthly Report. Mr. Richard Brim.
Good evening. I think we need a bigger podium or need less stuff. I don't know which. All right, the first item I got here is our monthly tax collection status report. Just like to report things are on track. We've collected almost $21 million of the $21.3 million that we're scheduled to collect. We're 98.12% right now. 3 months left to go, so I don't see a problem with us meeting that. So that's good news. I'll move on to our next item, which is discovery and garnishment report. First part of that is the discoveries. Our personal property folks have discovered 672 accounts so far this fiscal year for a little over $7.5 million of value. That's generated about $83,000 in actual tax levy for this fiscal year to date. Next part of that is the garnishment. We've garnished 588 accounts for a tax levy of a little over $255,000. Of that, we've collected a little over $160,000 of that for this fiscal year. And then the next item we've got is our EMS billing and collections. We've billed out 2,980 transports through the end of March. We've charged a total of a little over $1.9 million and collected almost $1.1 million of that. And then there's about $520,000 that we've had to write off based on contractual obligations through Medicare, Medicaid, and other contractual services. Then next item we'd like to report on is our Datamax, which is Interstate Collections that do some enforced collections for us. So far, since the last time I reported to you in September, from October of 18 through March of 2019, between EMS, vehicles, and property tax, they've collected approximately $42,000 in delinquent accounts for us. And we've been with them for about 10 years, and they've collected over $750,000 to date. Then we've got our real and personal releases less than $100. We have 12 accounts for a total of $288.31. Then we've got our real and personal refunds less than $100. We've got one account, and it's $50.75. And then we've got real and personal releases more than $100. That's 2 accounts that total $366.01. And then we've got our refunds more than $100, and that is 6 accounts that total $1,023.57. Then I've got 3 present use value late applications that would like to get those approved. We had some folks turn in some forestry use value applications late, and based on the Machinery Act and Provision 105-277.4 gives the commissioners the power to accept and approve those late applications. And the last thing I have here is kind of 2 parts. The first part I'm going to speak to a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to Michael May from South Data. South Data has been a partner with the county for a long time, and not only with the county, not only with the tax office, but the entire county. We use South Data for doing a lot of our annual mailings, our personal property listing forms, delinquent notices, revaluation notices, and numerous other mailings. South Data has always been real knowledgeable and friendly, and coordinate with us and to maintain timely mailings. Good customer service. They're a local company based out of Mount Airy. They have some services that they want to provide for us. 3 services that we're interested in. One of them's listing our listing scanning, which is scanning our listing forms, and in doing that, that's going to free up our ladies in personal property from shuffling papers for the whole month of January and handling mail. Give them some time to go and actually visit some property, lay eyes on property, review some accounts, and do what they were hired to do as far as praise property and not open mail. That's the first service we're asking to be approved. And the next service is e-statements. And you know, with millennials coming on and starting to have homes and things, they like to do things electronically. And South Data provides a service where we can do e-statements. You can get your bill electronically. You can get any type of mailing from the tax office electronically. We want to implement that this next fiscal year for our 2019 annual billing. When we do that, first year we probably won't get a lot of hits on it, but we're just going to be gathering information, gathering email addresses, things like that. We'll really reap the reward in the 2020 annual tax bill mailing, and save a lot on postage, and we'll be providing a convenience and a service for our taxpayers that they've requested. And then the last service that he'll speak about is online listing service, where you can go out and list your personal property, whether it be business or individual, online. And like I said, we've had folks ask for this for a long time. Other counties are doing it. We visited Rowan County. Kelvin Bird down there was gracious enough to let us come down, talk to his staff. He showed us how it worked. Michael did a presentation for us. You know, all together, with the 3 services we're asking, all in next year's budget, we're talking about probably less than $5,000, $6,000, and it's going to be a big time savings, and good for the tax office and good for the citizens. So unless you've got any other questions for me, I'll just turn it over to Michael. Then when he gets finished, I'll be glad to answer any questions you've got.
Thank you, Richard. So you go ahead and talk about this first before Michael gets started.
So you guys can lay your eyes on some stuff for you.
Thanks, sir.
A little bit easier
Thank
to
you.
see things. I wasn't sure how many to bring, but I brought.
I don't need to let him start this.
May have to share.
So, my name is Mike May. I work for South Data. I've been working for South Data for about 9 years now. We have been a business partner for Stokes County, and we currently work with about 75% or 80% of the county governments in North Carolina. Essentially, what we're working with our clients and our partners to do is, we've been forever a technology company that happens to print and mail items, and so we produce millions of documents for county governments like you guys all over the state, and we realize that as people like myself are coming up, they want access to things on their phone, on their computer, more real time. And so the 3 services that we're talking about will hit the mark for your constituents here without your office really having to do anything extra other than saying, yes, we want to move forward with the service. We handle everything else. And essentially, you're accomplishing a couple things. One, on the listing scanning side, eventually you guys are going to, we find in county offices, you run out of space to store items. You've got filing cabinets and things just placed everywhere. With our service for the listing scanning, you're actually eliminating that scanning in a real-time circumstance. So once that service gets implemented, instead of having to pay a company come in and actually scan those items for you for a large expense, which we actually do for counties as well, we're actually starting to cut into that in real time by receiving those items at our facility in Mount Airy, opening those up, and as Richard was saying, your staff is not sitting there with stacks of envelopes, stacking them up and waiting until they all come in to open those. They're actually getting documents back from us on a daily basis, and we found that it cuts down the actual processing time by about 25 days by letting us do this, which means that your tax values are set much quicker, and everything's ready to go for your team to be out in the field where they're supposed to be. From the electronic statement standpoint, we basically have a one-stop shop to where we gather the email addresses, we attach the documents inside the email addresses to the individual taxpayers so that they can view their documents electronically and then push them to where they need to be paid electronically as well. We found that about 80% of those people are going to make their payments electronically. So however they receive or want to pay those items, we'll push them to where they need to go. Once again, that's reducing the amount of calls into your staff here, and it's reducing walk-ins to the office, freeing up your people's time to do what's important for them. And then lastly, with the online listing service, once again, we get a lot of businesses that want to list those items electronically just because a CPA or an accountant may be overseeing multiple businesses to where they're having to list those items for business. It makes it much easier for them, easier for the taxpayer as well to list the items electronically, and everything just flows through our system. And once again, we're doing this for counties all over the state. Would love to play a part in your office as well and see if we can continue to move you guys forward into the next electronic age. So, any questions?
I'll start down here with Commissioner Morris.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is a good idea to do all these things. One question I have, you've got one item listed here for May of 2019. Do we have to approve that before we go through the budget process in order to meet the deadline or schedule? Or
actually, I talked with Michael, and Michael said we probably would push that to June. So if we get it implemented and we do it in June, then they probably won't be able to bill till July.
Okay.
So that will be the next fiscal year before we actually have to pay them any money to do that. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. And doing the e-statements, we're only looking at a $250 implementation fee. So it's not a tremendous amount of money.
We might need to approve it anyway, just so you're not anti-deficient and you come up and he's started to work already and we owe him a bill. So I think I'd consider trying to do that.
I can do that. I can bring a agreement up next month and we'll get that started. That's something I'd like to do. No problem.
Okay, great. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, sir. Michael, I appreciate you being here this evening, and I'm very interested in the information you're sharing with us. We have some really useful technology available these days, and it's nice to see that there's ways our citizens can benefit from it. If all these changes were to be implemented, Richard or Michael, what cost would there be per year approximately if an expected number of our citizens use the services?
So I actually think it's going to work out to where it's completely neutral for you guys.
Okay.
To where you're not even, and I can give you the reason why that is. So for every person that signs up for the e-statements, you're going to eliminate postage immediately. So instead of paying, 38 cents or 40, honestly, it averages about 40 cents per mailed item from us. So every single time that somebody signs up for e-statements, you're eliminating 40 cents immediately. That will completely offset the cost of the service. Once you get to the tipping point, which you will, we just see a natural progression. And as a company, we will help you guys to educate your tax base to know how to use the service, how to sign up for it, how to play their part, and to help control that cost. Secondly, on the scanning side of things, what we found is that with us receiving the items back and scanning it in, on a yearly basis when those listings come back in. Either you can do it then, or you're going to typically pay a company that will come in because you run out of storage space and you have to retain them for a certain amount of time. And so we're scanning those in real time, eliminating that big hit that you're going to have down the road of all those documents needing to be scanned.
Very
So,
good. I'm very, very much in favor of things that can make it easier for our citizens or more convenient, and these certainly sound like steps in that direction.
no doubt.
I'm curious, how close are we to online bill paying?
You mean for, let me make sure I understand the question.
Yeah, say I wanted to pay my taxes and just go on online and pay them online.
So, are you guys are offering online payments right now, right? Sure. So one of the things that we're also doing we're working on with some other counties right now is that we have acquired quite a few companies that allow us to. We've always been a print and mail company for 35 years, and as you can tell, you have to adapt and grow and change. And so we're stretching our borders to get more on the digital side to offer other services. Part of that is offering online presentment and payment as well. And so essentially where we're going with this is, as a taxpayer or utility customer, whatever kind of customer you are, you'll be able to take your phone, log in, view your document, view any communication, and hit the Pay Now button, and you won't ever leave that site or have to log back in again to where we accept those payments. And
Sounds good.
And we have that technology. We're rolling that out to a couple counties now, and as those counties move forward and we really refine that process, we'll be coming back to other counties to bring them on board as well.
If things go as well as you would hope they would, when might that be available?
So I believe a couple of the counties will be moving forward in the next 60 days, going live. So I think we're talking probably third quarter, fourth quarter this year for anybody else.
Very encouraging.
And it's not that we couldn't say yes to you guys now. I've learned that you don't want to get out over your skis, if you will. You want to make sure everybody's onboarded the right way. So,
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Walker. Commissioner Young.
Yeah, I would also like to say thank you, Mr. May, for coming out and presenting this. That's very valuable information. I like as far as it makes it secure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no mail going out and people intercepting the mail and the possibility of someone seeing someone's private information. So the security piece of it I really like. And as Commissioner Walker asked, the day of this being our tool is here.
Right.
It's been here for a while. So from that being said, I guess it will be kind of like a Play Store app that you just download into your phone, and then you have South Data that you go into, log into your account.
So it's more so on a web-based platform currently that's responsive for any type of device that you're on.
Okay.
Now, where that ends up being, the market will tell us where to go on that. But I could see an app as well.
Certainly. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I have grandparents and parents that I never thought I would see computer savvy, so to speak, and,
Right.
and I see them every day, constantly looking at things online. So it's critical. It's not just for the younger generation. So thanks for presenting this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Commissioner Mendenhall.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Michael, for coming by and giving us this presentation. Of course, I'm very familiar with South Data, where I was superintendent of the school system here in Stokes County. We used y'all. And I would like to just relay to the board, they did an outstanding job for us with the school system. We were always very pleased with your on-time service, and I looked over the information, and this is certainly the direction that we're headed in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any questions since I've dealt with this company for the last 7 or 8 years of my career. Did a great job for us, so I just want to say thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me. First time doing this, so in front of commissioners, I like it though.
Yeah, same here. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. There's nothing wrong with I say is actually just moving us forward, and I can see Jimmy getting excited down there, be able to pay his bills online. But, I appreciate you coming through and getting the information for us. I believe we got to move this to, let's see, to the consent agenda on the April 22nd.
Mr. Chairman, what I would do here, I would move this to an action agenda for the board to talk about more.
Okay.
Because it may have to be a contract signed with South Data. Monies, if it's involved, monies that will be charged to the taxpayers, if there are any. Just the detailed layout of what exactly is going to be happening with the services that South Data will be providing. So if it could be placed on the action agenda, so y'all can bring it back up and discuss it a little bit more, and Mr. Brim can submit you documents for the board to approve at that time.
Okay.
Would work good.
Everybody good with that?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. We want to get that one item approved as part of what he just said, right, early? Okay, that's good. That's all I have.
Right, and on item B, you have 3 items that would need to go to the consent agenda that he had in the tax report for this time also. So I guess you'd have two approvals, 2 separate approvals here. One for the consent agenda for Mr. Brim's tax administrator's original report and those items that need to be approved, and then this South Data thing for the action agenda.
Okay. Okay. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to item C. Actually, before we move on,
Is there a motion for that?
oh, I'm sorry.
We need to make sure everybody's good with consent.
Okay. I thought we got a bunch of nods just a minute ago. I'm sorry.
Me.
Is everybody good with that? Okay. All right. Good on that. And before we move on, it was earlier we had a gentleman we was going to recognize. Mr. Michael Overstreet, I believe we seen him come in just a minute ago. Michael, come up here for a minute. We missed you earlier, and Mr. Oakley had read off all the stuff that you had accomplished right there. I'm sure I can speak on the board right here, very impressed. And,
Thank you.
good luck with everything there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, congratulations.
Nice accomplishments.
Thank you. Proud of you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, we give you the Certificate of Achievement.
Thank you. You can step up there.
We'll come out.
Is there a camera up there?
I don't know if it is or not.
All right, now we'll move on to item C. Stokes Fire and Rescue Association discussion with a request for renewal of policy updates. Miss something there? Oh, okay. Ms. Jessup on that.
Yes. This is not a new document. This is a document that the commissioners saw last year, but our understanding is every time there are new commissioners that it has to be approved. I think there were some changes last year, very small changes, but all I need is approval. And I do have allergies, and if I don't understand you, shout at me. Stop that.
I sympathize with you.
I'll start here with a question and comment from Commissioner Mendenhall.
Thanks for the new draft, Texie, and I looked over and many of the markings in red, of course, were just updates of dates and things like that. And I really don't have any questions for you. It was pretty self-explanatory, I thought, so thank you for bringing it to us. I'll go to Mr. Yance.
Yeah, I have no questions for you. I also have glanced over, and you guys are the professionals in this, so I'll leave that to you. And the verbiage has changed, but everything else looks great to me, so I have no questions for you.
Mr. Walker? Actually, appreciate you being here and bringing the information for us. And,
Hey.
you know, you certainly have my approval. I think we have some questions this year as far as how all the pieces fit together with our allocations and certain things about our process, but this seems pretty clear and straightforward. So I'm certainly on board.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Taxi, how you doing? I have one question. The document looks fine with it. It appears to be just administrative kind of updates and everything. Let me read one section here to you in section 9 to see if this is applicable. In section 9, number 2, it says, the Board of Commissioners may on its own initiative propose amendments to this document. Before adopting any changes to this document, the Board shall seek input from the Stokes County Fire and Rescue Association and provide a review and comments period of at least 30 days before enacting such changes. So is what you're doing, are you giving us the Fire Association opinion?
I am the president of the Fire and Rescue Association.
Okay.
And that's...
So there's some 30-day thing we have to do too before we put the changes in? It says Fire Association provide a review and comments period of at least 30 days before enacting the changes. So do we need to wait 30 days before we do this?
There are no changes.
Okay.
Our understanding was that because there are new commissioners, it had to be reapproved.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's got some changes, some markups in it though.
That was from last year. There were changes last year. The markup, what you received
Oh, it doesn't
was...
have any changes then this
no,
year?
Since last year, there are no changes. The changes were made prior to the commissioner's approval last year.
Oh, okay.
But no, and they were really, the change then was that we took out the word line item for the most part.
Yeah. And then put in there about reporting to the county manager.
Well, as it turned out, that's who we always reported to.
Mm-hmm.
So we felt that we ought to make the document.
Okay. But that was all changed last year?
It was all changed last year.
So all you're just doing the commissioner thing this year,
Right.
not changing. Okay,
right.
Good. That answers that question. Then I have one other question. It's related to this subject, but not exactly. If you, and maybe answer this later or something for us, but is there any plan or anything that you guys are looking at to lower the fire ratings in other parts of the county?
Presently, 2 departments are awaiting the ISO test. Everybody, because of all the stuff that happened down east with the hurricane situation last fall, some of us were waiting then to have our ISO rating, and 2 departments right now are scheduled for June and July.
Okay.
So it's an ongoing process. We've had some classes that the fire marshal's office has set up that has brought in the ISO rating personnel to give us tips, to give us all kinds of, I guess, help in changing our ratings.
Okay.
So 2 departments are scheduled now.
So will every department eventually try to get
The Fire Association encourages that,
okay,
and offers assistance to other departments for that.
Oh,
so
okay.
yes, the answer is we hope that everybody will do that.
Okay. Okay, great. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I had nothing for you on this. I believe we need to move this.
No, just you need to explain. You want to explain how it was done last year?
I can explain it to you, Mr. Chairman and board members. Now, last year, Clifford Hall and Robert Knight brought a proposal of how you want to distribute funds throughout the service district. This was a practice run for last year, and if everything went well and no changes need to be made, then it was to be approved for this year to move forward of doing the same, right?
Yes, that's what we hoped would happen. As you well know, what satisfies one department don't necessarily satisfy another one. We were doing the 9-page document for the fire departments, which required each fire department to submit about 26 pages of budget request, and the fire commissioners had to sit down and go through each one of those line item things and make cuts to areas to make the money match what the request could live with. We knew that once the money was approved and got back in the hands of the fire department, we have no jurisdiction over them. They are a separate entity. The county just contracts with the fire departments to provide fire and rescue services to the county. So irregardless of what we did with the budget, they could do what they wanted to with the money. So we came up, the fire commission came up with this plan to redo these budgets, knowing what the money was proposed to be in the beginning, and try to make it all match. And that's why we changed the draft, the 9-page document, to the system that we currently did the budgets off of last year and this year. And when we started reading through the contract that was 14 years old, we found out that there were some things in that contract that we hadn't even been following anyway. So I wanted to try to get everything back on a legal basis to where everybody knew what was going on or what's supposed to be going on. There's nothing in that document that specifies how the county, how the fire commissioners are to do the budgets other than to make the money work. You can't just divide it all up equally between every one of them. That don't work. We have in department like Westfield, they've got half their fire district is in one county, their station is in another county, but it's not more than 500 feet over the county line hardly. And we spent more time trying to hash out how to do Westfield, Pilot Rescue, and Pilot Volunteer Fire Department than we did the rest of the entire county. And then some departments have substations, so that's another thing that we need to address with this. This is a work in progress of what we're doing with this administrative part of this money deal. We're basing it on calls. We're basing it on the hired personnel. And when a couple of years ago, when this new radio system came out, that really put the screws on the money. And now you have so many stipulations that come down from the state, from DOI, and from NFPA. It winds up being a very expensive operation for the county fire departments. And if we can reduce the ISO ratings to get them down to where we can get a 5 or a 6, it will free up money from what the people are paying for insurance premiums. And the former Board of Commissioners asked that we pursue that project because they said they didn't see any chance of us getting any more money to approve to the fire departments until we done something to help the citizens, which I agreed with. Therefore, we're just trying to make it work with 8 cents. But you have a tremendous debt load with a lot of these fire departments, and none of that debt load is coming off anytime soon, not a substantial amount. And to address the issue with Westfield Fire Department, it was not that the fire commissioners didn't want to approve giving them the $10,000. We were of the understanding that we were going to be committing $10,000 to that project for the next 40 years. And I just didn't feel comfortable hanging nobody out for 40 years when we had other plans that were being discussed with the fire service, which I won't go into right now because I don't have all the information on that, but it's something that needs a little more looking at than just 3 or 4 pieces of paper.
So is this board to allow you to continue on for another year as you are now in developing the plan that you would like to have in appropriation of money to our service district? Because this board, what was approved last year was to be brought back for approval this year.
Right.
And that's what I'm asking for the board to do.
That's correct. I remember very distinctly Clifford and Robert Knight standing here in front of us last year. They had developed a new formula, I think.
Right.
That we listened to carefully, and we gave them permission to move forward with it at that time.
Right.
And we were waiting to see how everything went, I think, is
Well,
what we finally decided at the end. Is that right, Clifford?
They survived last year. Didn't nobody go out of business, and,
Okay.
and they made it work. And we did again this year. The proposed budgets have already been done for the fiscal year that be what 19-20 budget year. They've already been done, and we made the money work with the figures that she gave us for the proposed amount of money that we would have, and we spent it all. But you know, that's kind of give you an insight of what's going on with it.
Well, thank you. We definitely appreciate the information, and I'm going to ask the board, does everybody feel comfortable with approving this, what they've brought to us tonight? Put it on the action agenda. You got one item?
Put it on action tonight?
Yeah.
Can I describe what I think we're approving?
Sure.
So what we're approving, Clifford, we're approving, and Texie, what we're approving is for you to continue to execute the program that was approved by the board last year with your formula, tweak it if you need to, do whatever, and continue another year with that same process in lieu of doing something different, right?
Right, that's...
Okay. I'm fine with that personally.
I'm concerned, and it's an ongoing concern, and I see Commissioner Mendenhall smiling. He knows what it is. I like to keep to a minimum the number of things we take from here and put on action in our meetings. That's, I think, not totally fair to our public, to our citizens, to have a pattern of that or have that as a way we typically do business. I think our citizens come here expecting to see a normal procedure that we've described. Now, if it's urgent, and Cliff can tell me that it's urgent enough to really need to be done now versus going normally through the process, then I'd certainly pay some attention to that. But I'm concerned about how often things are coming up on discussion and moving directly to action in the same meeting. And folks, I'm almost 75 years old, and I'm not as sharp as I used to be, and never have been the sharpest knife in the drawer anyway. And I need a little time sometimes to think about things and maybe have some questions, and not to do it just like that. Put a little thought into it or a little research into it, and when we do things the way we are beginning to do them, discussion, action, same meeting, I'm not sure I'm always as comfortable as I need to be, and that I have enough information or enough time to deal fairly with some of these issues we're working with. So if I may ask Cliff, what is the need for this evening versus next meeting?
Well, the budgets have already been done.
Okay.
They need to be presented to the county manager so he can review them. That's what was in the other document process, so they can be voted on and be approved by at least by June, so they can take effect in July. Is that correct, Jay?
You need something approved.
And they,
And Clifford, y'all have already, I think it was it 2 Mondays ago when we had our last meeting? Is that the night that y'all had
appeals.
give the chance for each of the departments to give their appeals to you?
At the association meeting,
Yeah.
the departments had a chance to speak their mind on what they liked and what they didn't like. We had some appeals that were taken care of. And this is not a perfect policy, because even though they put the wet stuff on the red stuff, no two fire departments in this county operate the very same way. There's different topography that requires different trucks in different areas. There's some departments that are more handling industrialized areas, and there's some that are just strictly rural. And you know, I've been on this fire commission too long, and it's a continuing change. Equipment keeps costing more money, and we're trying to make things work with what we got. And I'm wide open for anybody that's got any better idea on how to distribute this money. But when you sit for 3 nights in a row looking at budgets and making cuts, when you know in the back of your mind that you might as well just be sitting there twiddling your thumbs for the good it's going to do, all you're doing is making dollars match with making the funds match with the request. We had a budget request of $3.2 million, and you don't have but $1,987,000. Something's going to get cut, and I'm sure y'all are well aware of how that works. So, you know, it's not going to stop the fire departments from operating if this is not approved tonight. But if you want more time to review it, I have no problem with it. I don't know whether the others do or not. But if there's any questions, or if we need to have a meeting with the county in a closed door session, we can do that to answer any questions or whatever you think might be coming up in the future. We're trying to get together a 5-year plan of where we hope to be in 5 years, and the things that we see the fire service undertaking.
Well, I would definitely say that you made one very accurate statement. That is that you cannot get every department doing it the same way or everything exactly like. I've been to your meetings one time 2 or 3 years ago.
That was the night they couldn't even agree on when to have the next meeting.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
So I just knew, you know, let's just be up front. I've had several calls from people, and I knew y'all had your appeals a couple of Mondays ago, and you're never going to get all of the departments to come together on everything. I mean, there's going to be discrepancies and disagreements, and like you said, what'd you say, 1.9 million versus X amount of dollars, and I know, I've been there, I've seen y'all in action. I know you've got a tough job.
Yeah.
Tough job. And that's all I'm gonna say, Mr. Chairman.
Rick, do you have something else? I see you looking at me.
Yeah, I was going to just say, I wasn't pushing to move it to action tonight. I was just saying I agree with the concept of empowering these two organizations to do this work for us and then supporting them when they do it and continue to use the formula and tweak it however they want to.
Yeah. There's a few areas that we need to work on in that formula, because it's a work in progress. Like I said, you know, what worked last year didn't work exactly like we thought it would work this year, but we made it work out, you know.
Exactly. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Just real quick, so you guys want to move this to action in 2 weeks? Everybody good with that?
Yeah, and I didn't even come prepared to take steps on this evening. I just was here to hear Texas report and thought that would be as far as we'd go with it this evening. So
okay.
This is kind of new ground, and if I may, Mr. Chairman, since
I'm sorry, but my father-in-law's had a stroke.
Yeah, we're going to excuse him.
with the best, he'll certainly be under prayers, sir. In
He's,
my prayers.
they got him on the way.
Right.
I believe.
Certainly understandable. And he's 93 years old.
So,
We'll excuse Commissioner Mendenhall, and maybe if I may, I'd like to tell Clifford also, I've supported you guys ongoing. You know that. And
I know that.
and have sensed that all along, and will continue to. And you have a tough job. Your job makes our job easier because you're front line.
We're the liaison between the fire
Exactly.
departments and you.
Exactly, and I realize, and we've had examples of it along, that there are situations that don't necessarily fit exactly the way things are. They maybe do need a little further consideration. But I'll continue to support the work of the Fire Commission and will continue to place a lot of value on your recommendations and appreciate what you're doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So we moved it to action agenda in 2 weeks. Okay. We'll just take a short recess real quick, a few minutes, and we'll come back.
Latest on Katrina. Brother news.
Not a word. Heard that she had stole one of Dwayne's vehicles out of his.
You have to strike it for Jimmy.
Rick, how'd you get a filing cabinet? None of the rest of us got one.
I'll sublease you some space.
Call the meeting back to order and continue on with the discussion agenda on item D. It's a CAD server, fiscal year 2018-19 purchase and resolution. Let's see, I believe it's Mr. Oakley on that, or no?
No, it's me.
Glenda, I'm sorry, Glenda.
But if Jake would like to, feel free. The resolution that you have in your agenda packet is for a sole source purchase for an exemption to the North Carolina General Statute 143-129. And what that does is, with the IBM server that we currently have, the support life is going to be ending September of 2019. And the Spillman software and the Solutions 2, these are only provided by this company. And so with that, the resolution just needs to be signed as a formality so we can go back with the same company that we currently have, and which is used by the Sheriff's Department, the jail, communications, fire, and EMS. And if you have any questions, Diana is here to answer those.
You want to come up to the podium too?
I will add that we can just go ahead and put this off for the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we don't have to have
that
it
makes
tonight.
Jimmy happy, I can tell
It
you that.
does.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll start.
Appreciate that.
I'll
You're
start
a good
Commissioner
guy.
Yance, if any questions or comments.
No, I have no questions or comments. Thanks for presenting tonight.
Thank you.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes, sir, please. Where's the money?
It's already there.
I was hoping you'd say that.
It was already approved for the agenda for this
I
year.
thought it was.
Yes.
I just wanted to reaffirm
Yes.
what my feeble memory was telling me that.
You are correct.
the way it
And
was.
and the IT department actually got it down from what the original quote was that was
Good.
presented in the budget. So it saved a little money for you too.
Good news also. That's all I have, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Commissioner Walker. Commissioner Morrison?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Diana, I've got a question for you. Is the cost of this, which is fairly significant, is it driven by the fact they have proprietary technology in the Spillman system?
No, it was really driven by the fact that we have the redundancy, the 2 servers,
Mhm.
and we have to get those pretty big to handle the public safety piece. That's really where the cost comes in.
Okay, is it, are we locked in to do Spillman for a long time now? I mean, does anybody ever have any thoughts about using something besides Spillman as sheriff or any of them?
They have, and we've looked at them over the years too. Their maintenance costs for some of the other vendors out there are actually higher than what we are paying. So
Are they? So everybody likes Spillman still? Everybody's happy with Spillman?
they really are.
Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Morrison? I had nothing for you either.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Action for next meeting?
Action next meeting. Everybody good? All right, moving on to item E, the Health Department request to advertise open position, internal and external hire due to retirement of a long-time employee. And I believe we had Tammy Martin. Good to see you this evening.
Good to see you. Yeah, we have one retiring at the end of May, and I'm wanting to bring on another employee to kind of shadow her, since it is billing before, waiting for her to leave. And I'd like to, maybe if I could possibly have it approved tonight, because it has to run 2 weeks, internal, external, so the 24th is the earliest I can interview. And to get that person in, them give a notice, then I'm hitting right at the beginning of May. And I'd like to give 30 days for her to shadow to make sure she knows all the procedures we have in billing.
Okay. I'll start down at the end of this time, Commissioner Morris.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't have a problem moving this to action because the billing function gets you in trouble quicker than anything else if it's not done correctly. And I think overlap, not knowing sort of what's going on from my previous life, overlap down there is really critically important for the old billing person to train the new billing person. So in this case, I wouldn't have a problem with that. A separate issue that's not directly related to this, and Commissioner Walker and I have had this discussion many times, I think.
Oh, okay.
But, I don't really see a need for us to approve these external and internal advertisements in the hiring process. We don't do internal, but we approve the externals, and in my 9 years, I never remember the board not approving one. And to me, it's just an extra administrative burden that we can address at a separate time. But if you still feel that way, we'll bring it up.
I think I hear Commissioner Morris saying, here's another time he and I agree.
But this is important. A lot of the trouble we got in before was when billing people were not either trained or able to do their jobs, and so it's really critically important that we do this. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Walker.
I still agree with you, Commissioner Morris. I'm not one that bounces around a whole lot. I'm just sort of stay honorary. Tammy, have you advertised internally for this position?
No, usually we don't get to advertise till the person's already left.
Okay.
And that's why I'm asking permission to do it before they leave, so they can get caught up and everything doesn't just start over and we get behind on billing.
Well, one thing that I've chosen to do over the years is support our directors and managers, department heads. And I'm gonna kind of dovetail on what Commissioner Morris was saying. I think this is certainly within the range of what a director like you could handle adequately and appropriately. And I believe in looking back, there was a time when we had certain board members who liked more control than I'm seeing these current board members want to have in situations like we're looking at here with this position. They kind of wanted more hands-on, it seemed. And I'm willing to take a look at that and see if we can adjust it and just save you some trouble or save you some time and save us some time. And in the future, maybe just let you and our other department heads and directors and managers handle things like this. We've never had a problem. Have we ever not approved one? I've been on this, doing this a while, and I can't remember any time ever that. Do you remember?
No, I just want to say one thing. You all actually stopped doing these last year, doing the external postings. The only reason this is in here listed like this is because they want to go ahead and hire this person before somebody leaves.
I have no problem
you don't
with that.
bring somebody in
Me,
while somebody's
to me.
still here. So actually, we stopped bringing the external listings sometime like mid last year. If they go
Good.
ahead and just post those out when they're ready. But they usually do internal first. But this one's going internal and external. But they're not coming before you anymore because the board decided
I have
last year.
no problem. I don't even feel like I need to make a decision on this. It's just, I say leave it up to Tammy. Let her do what she feels like she needs to do. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Yachts?
Yeah, Ms. Martin, thank you for bringing this tonight. I'm going to echo what both commissioners have already stated. I think that we have a process, and I think the process should be that the only time that something like this should come to us is should you not agree with something that's being deemed from the county manager to you and you're appealing or something of that nature. I have no problem with you pursuing with this the way that you've noted here, but I will say that I don't know why in the future we would need to hear these type things. I think you're more than qualified, and with the assistance of our county manager, who I think is also adequately qualified, you guys could make these decisions. And again, if you so deem, you could appeal it. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Same with me on this. I fully agree with what they said. Yes, ma'am.
We have checked into this with some other counties, and other counties do have a policy in their personal handbook, which we're going to put in there because we're working on redoing our policy handbook, that you can hire somebody in a essential position, say billing or something like that, so you can bring somebody in and be training them
Sure.
before they depart for retirement. Now, if somebody gives a 2 weeks notice, there's no way you can get
Everybody say the same, agreed to move to action tonight? Jimmy?
We need to make a decision.
All right.
It's on the agenda.
Shannon, if you would, just put that on there. Thank you, Tammy.
I appreciate you agreeing with me.
Okay, moving on to item F. National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 14th to the 20th, 2019. And who do we have speaking on that? Anybody?
Thank you.
Jay Coker.
Mr. Chairman, this is another item that I'm going to request for you to put on the action agenda tonight. And reason for that is it is a proclamation for Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. That is runs from April the 14th to the 20th, so it needs to be taken care of before the next meeting to allow us to approve this and get it in a timely manner. But it's to honor our telecommunicators for during this time period and for the service they do for the county, because without their directions in allowing our EMS and fire and police and sheriff's department to know where the incidents are at and helping them get to our folks in Stokes County in a manner that it is better serves them, then these telecommunicators they are got a vital and important position in 911, and Mr. Chairman, I would love for them to be honored during this week for the contribute that they do for this county.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'll start with Commissioner Walker this time.
Well, thank you, sir. Been a while. Appreciate it. I have no problem in grouping all these together under one action item and just approving them all at one time. Matter of fact, a lot of these proclamations and what are the others? Proclamations and
got child abuse and the Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I could see just those coming in our agenda packet, and then when we come to our meeting, we just sign them. And if anybody doesn't agree with it, they don't have to sign it. And by doing that, we're adopting it or approving it at our meetings, so we're just thinking about the flow of our meetings, and I know some of them run a little long, and it seems like the ones we don't want to run long are the ones that sometimes do. So there may be a way there to even save a little more time. We just have them here, and we sign them, and by doing so, we're adopting them. But anyhow, I think people, it's good. Everybody likes a pat on the back, and I think it's good for us to publicly give these organizations a pat on the back when we have a chance to. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate you starting with me that time. Yeah.
Give you some love too, Mr. Morris.
Chairman, thank you. I'd be fine with grouping them all together and approving them too tonight.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Yachts?
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Okay. So I'm good at moving to items F, G, and H, all the action.
Actually, just one item, I believe, would do it. Just group them all together and approve them all in the same motion.
We allowed to do that?
Is that any issue that you see, just to move everything?
Okay.
Is there any reason that those proclamations and resolutions couldn't just go in the consent agenda from the start with the?
I think they really ought to
Still put them out, okay.
in public.
Okay.
And that really wouldn't happen.
In this consent, right.
Okay. Going to our last one, the item I, the proposed dates for the 2019-2020 budget work sessions, meeting with the School Board of Education public hearing.
He's gonna want them, he's putting them all together, he's doing the child. But he's putting in the,
And Special Olympics.
together too, all in one, okay.
Now, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Oakley.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is a budget work session. I hope to present a proposed budget to this board a few weeks early this year. That's where you've got started your actual goal sessions in January this year, in hopes that you would receive the recommended proposed budget a little earlier, so you can have more time to work on budget work sessions and with the Board of Education. Here's some dates that we have set out that we are trying to work with both governing bodies and making sure that they've got time set aside. We'd love for the board to look at these dates of work sessions on Tuesday, May the 14th, 16th, 21st, and 23rd as work sessions to go over the actual proposed budget and discussion as far as what you like in it and what you don't like. Then you would have a joint meeting with the Board of Education, and Shannon, she's worked really hard in trying to make sure that she comes up with some time that both parties, as far as the Board of Education and commissioners, can work together and get together to discuss things. So here's one date that we're able to come up with on May the 30th at 6 o'clock with those joint meeting between you two boards, and then you'll also approve the actual public hearing on May the 31st at 7 o'clock at the courtroom. What was that? Is that courtroom?
Courtroom A.
Courtroom A.
Mm-hmm.
For public to come in and have discussion concerning the budget at that time. So I'm hoping to get these dates, and you guys, I hope they work with you. And I'm hoping we can move forward and go ahead and set these and get them advertised and move forward with our budgeting process.
Okay. I'll start with Commissioner Morris.
I'm good with the 14th and the 21st. Got conflicts the other 2 days, and then I'm good with May 30th. I'm good with May 31st, but in the past, I don't think we've done these on Friday nights, but could get some criticism for doing that, but, you know.
I looked back, you've done some on Fridays before, it's just been a while back. Last year we did it on Thursday. It got a little tricky at that point in time because there were high school graduations. Somebody else had a conflict. We couldn't do it nobody wants to do them on Wednesdays typically because of church nights. So I was just running out of days of the week.
I'm fine with that as long as the rest of the board members are. That's it, that's all I have.
Commissioner Walker? Oh, go ahead. What 2 dates you didn't like?
2 dates I can't do are the May 23rd and the 16th.
Usually,
well, actually, I got a 4 p.m. meeting in Winston-Salem on the 16th. I guess we did it in the morning or something. I could, but
do we have, kind of thinking along with Commissioner Morris, do we have flexibility on these days as far as what time the meeting is? You haven't advertised them yet, so we could set them any time during those days we choose, and like you mentioned, what time's your meeting? Is that meeting I used to go to?
4 o'clock in Winston, yeah.
Yeah. We could do it probably 1:30 maybe, or so.
The times are no problem for us here. I would put the 6 o'clock time on there, just thinking about those that have a harder time getting here from work schedules. But
even started at 10 o'clock maybe. Because we have done morning meetings for budget sessions.
Yeah, I went with the night ones just because of the work schedule.
So that would take one of those off your questionable list, I believe. What about the other one? Is it
the other one? I won't be here at all.
Totally out.
Okay. I hate to make Jamie and Andy come in.
I'm good as long as I got 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's how I am. Usually, if I have this much advance notice, I can plan around these meetings.
Yeah. I'm just want Commissioner Younts' your work schedule.
I'll be completely honest with you. For me, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-week notice or not. It's kind of dependent on the day. So later in the afternoon is better for me, but that doesn't. I mean, May the 21st. I'm looking at the dates, and Commissioner Moore said that works for him. And looking at when the school board budget, the proposed budget, is going to be submitted. It says that April the 22nd said if it's not turned in then, it would be submitted on May the 13th. Is that correct?
This is correct. Our budget.
Okay. So I didn't know. So what I'm getting at, though, is based on that, I think the 21st gives us a little bit of cushion there if, in fact, we receive the budget on the 13th. I know we're meeting with them, but still. And for transparency, you know, if we're going to meet with the school board, I just think that later is better for most people. I mean, but again, it's, you know, I'm one of 4 of us that are here tonight, so later works better for me. And any of the days work for me as far as later in the afternoon. But the 21st, to me seems to be the best date to give a little bit of time to actually look through everything before going straight into a meeting.
Got your cough drops. There's some.
Rick, did you say 23rd? You weren't gonna be here at all, was it?
I'm out of town that day.
Okay.
Virginia doing
Thank you, sir. And another thing too is we're missing Commissioner Mendenhall, so he's not able to give his concurrence.
Mr. Chairman, one thing too, I don't think the school board's required to deliver theirs till the 14th of May.
15th, yeah.
15th, yeah. So that might play into their decision here. I don't know if they're gonna be.
We talked to Lynette today, and they've got a meeting set up, but I can't remember what the date was.
But it's due on the 15th.
Yeah.
It's scheduled for the school board, so that's.
Shane, can we take and just send out an email, these 4 dates, and just let all of us respond back to you on this, which days will work best and the times? Is everybody good with that?
Sure. Okay. Good idea.
Okay, we'll just move forward with that right there then.
We need to email Shannon then back.
I think Shannon's we'll just copy all of us in the email, or send it to all of us with the dates, and see what we can all respond back to with what times will work also.
Well, if you wanna look too while you're here at your calendars a little bit too, and see like if you see any other dates.
The only thing, Shannon, if I may please, the only thing is we're missing someone, so we don't know where they are as far as their schedule.
Okay, yep.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and move on to our action agenda. Item A is a tax administration contract employee request budget amendment number 90.
Move that we approve.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
I have none.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion. Moving on to item B. And this is a DSS Board of Health organizational structure. And this was discussed back at March 25th meeting, was moved to action agenda for tonight.
What exactly, if I may, Mr. Chairman, what are we addressing? What is the extent of what we're addressing with this item on the agenda for this evening?
Basically, this is just reestablishing the boards with the health and the DSS.
I guess my question is, are we actually voting to do that with this item, or are we voting to continue the process that would lead up to actually doing it?
We're voting to move forward with the process of reestablishing both boards.
Right, but not necessarily saying unequivocally in this motion that we are going to reestablish both boards.
Unless I'm wrong. I mean, I thought we were just voting to continue with the process.
Allow Mr. Browder or
I can address that. If you want to proceed with the process of determining whether or not you want to go back to second degree, then you would need a motion approved tonight to schedule a public hearing.
Okay.
To get any public input into the possibility of reestablishing second degree.
That makes sense.
And then after the public hearing, the next step, if you want to continue, would be to adopt a resolution to reestablish it.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
clears
Brown.
it up. And I'm on board. I'm ready to move with that. And we'll make the motion based on our attorney's description of what we're doing here this evening.
You want to read that off?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and read it out? You make the motion.
You done made the motion.
You do what? Y'all got it right in front of you.
On this action item, I'll make the motion.
I was just gonna ask if you had any questions before I'll make the motion. I mean, I'm glad to make the
No, I'm
motion.
good with doing it.
Okay.
so.
I move that this board schedule a public hearing for the purpose of getting public input on the advantages and/or disadvantages of reestablishing the Health Department Board and the Department of Social Services Board as separate and independent boards, and that notice of the public hearing be published in accordance with notice requirements for public hearing.
Okay, do I have a second it?
A second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Next, we need to go into closed session, and I'll have Shannon.
We have these.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we did move some more stuff, yeah, we did.
I'll make a motion that we, try to anyway, that we, do a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, proclamation for the Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month, and, Special Olympics.
Okay. Have a motion, is second?
Do we need to add the Health Department?
Yeah, the health department has to go, a request to post that position.
The request for the Health Department?
Oh, that'll be
position.
another motion.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be on a separate.
Right.
Okay. I'll second Commissioner Moore's, or Commissioner Walker's motion.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0, Shannon.
I think Commissioner Yance has another motion. He's on a roll.
All right, and for the last item, the Health Department requests to advertise an open position, internal and external, and hire date due to retirement, long-time employee. So moved.
I'll second, and I do have discussion.
Yes, sir.
Would Commissioner Yance consider adding in the motion that in the future, based on what Julia's saying as well as what the board sentiment seems to be, that we allow our directors to make this decision when it's appropriate for them to do so?
Can we do it, Ty?
Not mix it up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The point was advertising just this specific.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Very good point. And what I mentioned will work itself out anyway, because Julia said that's being looked at far as our personnel policy procedure. Thank you, sir. That's all the discussion.
Okay. Commissioner Yance has made a motion did request to advertise open position. I have a second.
I'll second.
There's a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Somebody already seconded. There's somebody that already seconded. Aye.
You did.
4-0. I did second, I didn't hear it. I'm getting old too. All right, I'll have Shannon to read off.
Okay. To consider and take action with respect to the position to be taken by the county in negotiating the price or other material terms of an agreement, the acquisition or lease of real property pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A5.
With that, we're going to closed
I
session.
need a motion to go into, close and a.
So moved.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. I need to hit the table.
Good seeing you.
Appreciate it.
Come back and see us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's
Consideration.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Consideration.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
that's been Monday.
Earned your money today, sounds like.
I'm gonna try my best to have you a proposed budget, recommended budget by the 22nd. I'll do everything I possibly can. Julia and I are working through it now. But you got a very large request and we've got a lot of money to trim or you're gonna have to do something.
Hey, when we adjourn, don't leave, I have a few things to sign,
Okay.
just like resolution
So,
stuff.
like it was in that letter of, setting those dates. It will, if I do everything I can to make, to have it on the 22nd, but it will come on the 13th of May, if I can't, if for some reason Julia and I can't hit that date.
All right, we're back on Dinah. I've got everything back here, so David's good in there. Okay, all right. Okay.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. A motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. See you next time.
Good day.
All right,
I ain't see you guys put the sign. Look at Jimmy's ready to run out of here. I ain't never seen him move so fast.
You guys got to sign some things.
We're all getting in the recliner and watching the ball game.
You pulling for UVA?
Of course.
Hey, are you good for me to hit stop? I paused, but I'm gonna hit stop. Are you good for me to do that? Okay, all right.
I wasn't even familiar with Texas Tech. Where'd they come from?
Either way, it's gonna be